I am the one they call Slick Nick, the living legend. And this is my very normal life. So normal.
Not really.
It's funny because
Watch the last video.
Yeah, well, we'll see which channel I posted on, but we just did a video talking about how everybody's weird. No one's normal. And if you think you're the exception to the rule, you're definitely exactly who we're talking about. So, this came in. You don't know that I made this video.
Oh.
But I made a video that I just posted called Why It's Better to Get Married Than Remain a Single Man Your Whole Life. So, but one of the things I was talking about is how that it makes you a more mature person. I mean, marriage in general is going to do that. And that's what I was saying. If you're remaining married, it's because you're changing and evolving together.
Right.
So, yeah, so that was my advice. And somebody had asked that question, so I made it. And here we are, another question's being asked and another video's making. But I wanted my wife in this because I got to give her so much credit for where we are financially. Here's the comment that came in from Sai. Quote, what are financial tips that you'd give for someone who's just starting out into the financial world? End quote. So you take it away. I'll give my rendition, but what comes to mind when you hear that?
The first thing definitely is to get your 401k set with your employer. If they do a matching, make sure you match whatever they do, and really try to get it at least 10% of your take-home pay in that 401k. Really, they say 10 to 15% from your takeaway pay to your 401k. That should be the first thing.
Because what's the deal if part of it's not taxed or it's not taxed, or there's some kind of, I feel like
it may
you get taxed less or something. I
can't remember. I think it's pre-tax dollars or whatever, so it gets put in there.
It's not the same as when you're just making money and then they take money out of your check.
But the thing is like when your employer like matches you, like I think our employer makes you do like a mandatory 3% contribution, and then they'll match 3% on top of that. But it'll also go up to 5%. They'll also match up to 5%. So you can elect up to 5%, and then they give you another 5%. So that would be your 10%. So it's like, you should do that. That's free money. Anytime they match, that's free money that you're getting.
So, and let me challenge you in the voice of anyone questioning it right now, but they'll say, but when you first starting out, you don't have as much money that you're making and you've got more debts.
Put it in now because you won't miss it. You won't miss it. It's such a small percentage, you won't miss it. And if you do, get a second job or spend less. Like really,
yeah.
I mean, because we're in the age of where there could be no Social Security, and they're saying like we need 10 to 12 times our annual salary, which
to retire on,
and that's a lot of money. Like that's a lot of money.
So it's like it's worth the sacrifice to know that if your employer's doubling what you're putting in already, then and that's a place where you want to start, even if it seems like, but I already don't make enough, I'm just out of college, it's still definitely.
And you think that, oh, well, I'll do it in a couple years. I'll do it in a couple years when I'm more stable. No, we're 10 years past that, probably 15 years past that, and now we're just getting to that stable point and adding money. And now it's almost too late, because you want to keep, even if it's a small amount, you put it in, and it grows year after year after year. The longer you wait to put it in, the less time it has to grow. So now we have to put in a lot more money to make it grow to the point where we need it to be, which we are more financially fit, but at the same time, we're still feeling the pulls of it, because instead of having that cash flow, now it's going to our 401k, our IRA, and just general savings to make sure that we're hitting the benchmarks.
Yeah, it's like yesterday I made the video too, talking about the only reason you should ever buy a boat is if that boat is making you money somehow. And kind of like with the 401k that we're talking about, it's kind of like an investment in a way. But it's not even much of a gamble. It's like, if you put in this much, they put in this much.
Yeah. Well, and then it is an investment.
Yeah.
So it's in an investment portfolio. So the whole idea is for it to grow. So you start out with, your $50 or $200 a month, and you only think, oh, well, that's what, maybe $2,400 a year, whatever. How is that going to grow into $1 million? But it's compound interest, and it's put into stocks and different things. So it grows.
Yeah.
So that would be my number one tip.
And a comment already came in on this before we even started making this, and that is someone already commented. They said, "Don't buy a car." So let's elaborate on that.
Don't buy a car that you have to make payments on.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, the last car that we bought was my Hyundai. I will tell you, I love that Hyundai, and it cost us less than $9,000. It was a 2013, and we bought it, in 2016?
And we paid cash for it.
We paid cash for it. Like, it was less than $9,000. I have $130,000 or 130,000 miles on it right now, and it's running like a charm.
Yeah.
And the only thing we've ever done to it was oil changes and tires and wipers. Like, that's it. So you don't have to drive super expensive cars or
Yeah.
buy, spend $400 a month on a car payment. Like, that's ridiculous.
If you want to impress somebody with your vehicle, it doesn't matter how old it is or how many miles it is, just get a Jeep Wrangler. That's all you really have to.
Yeah, and you can get an old one of those, and that'll still impress people. Yeah. The older it is, it's almost more impressive.
I don't know if I told you this story, but you need to hear this. So actually last Friday, so a week ago, I'm driving home. I was actually going to Papa Murphy's to get our food. And coming towards me is this guy. He's like, it was driving like a brand new Challenger or Charger, whatever.
Yeah.
Did I tell you this story?
I don't know. But.
So this guy, he's driving this brand new V8 car to impress, and he's even kind of doing like this. He in his mind he had it going on.
Yeah.
But here is the irony, is what was on top of the car, and that was pizza delivery sign.
Oh man.
So imagine a guy that, and he's making payments on it.
Right.
Because if the obvious point is, if you're gonna make pizza delivery money, you should not buy a brand new car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's just, yeah.
It's very obvious he didn't pay cash for that. He's making payments on it, and yet he's delivering pizzas. Which, nothing wrong with delivering pizzas. It's a great way to start, or maybe a side job. But you should be driving an old Toyota.
Yeah.
If you're delivering pizzas.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, the car thing is very big, and where I worked before, I would work in the same building as these people in their 20s, and they would buy the new Mustang, buy the new Camaro, and I'm thinking, I know how, and this is at the place I used to work when I didn't make that much money, and I'm thinking, I know what I make, and I've been here 11 years, they just got here, how are they even making the payments on that thing?
Right,
to impress?
Exactly. Like, how do you make the payments and then afford rent and, and the insurance? Like, that's a significant expense, and it's not worth it.
And what happens then? They pull up in the parking lot, and then people are like, "Oh, is that your new car? Oh man, I like that new car." But that's the reward. That's the reward.
Right.
And then they're just throwing away money.
Right.
So yeah, cars are going in debt for, and that's the thing is if you can't afford something to begin with, imagine the irony that, yeah, I can't afford it. So you know what? Let me pay more for the thing that I can't afford.
Yeah.
That's what debt is.
And you're paying the interest on that.
Interest,
so you're paying, you think you go off the lot with a $30,000 car, you're paying interest. So it's no longer $30,000. It's become $40,000 or whatever you're going to pay with the interest, and then it's only losing value. Like, that's a no-no.
Yeah, definitely. What would you have to say about student loans? Because something I made in my other video is I talked about how, we're actually the oldest of the millennials, both of us born in 1981. But starting, especially around our generation, it was normal that you go to college. Whereas our own parents, I don't think out of any of our four parents, any of them actually got a 4-year degree like we did.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
and
trade school.
That was fine back then.
Yeah.
But now it's not. Now you at least have to have that.
Now it's not, right? And you think too. Like, I was just reading something today, where the expense of college. I left college. I paid for college myself, and I worked my way through college. And by the grace of God, I left college with $2,500 in student loans. So I paid that off within the year that I graduated. And you look at people now, and the story that I was reading today, somebody has $150,000 debt for a 4-year degree in psychology. You can't do anything with that. And then they're stay-at-home mom, and that's, you know, nothing against stay-at-home moms, or, you know, if you go to college and you invest in a degree,
But
like,
the fact
that's
that she's
fine.
that in debt
But
for
you're
it.
in debt. Like, that is what blows my mind, is that there's these universities that cost like $60,000 a year, and you're getting the same degree as you could get at something, you know, state college or whatever. Like, there are slight differences, but don't pay excessively for the degree that you get, and really think of your degree as an investment.
Yeah.
Think of it as, you know, am I going to get out of this what I'm putting into it? Because that's a lot of money to walk away with nothing but a psychology degree. And you think most of the people who have a psychology degree would go into something like social work. Social work does not
No.
going to pay you enough to pay off that's a house. $150,000 house.
Yeah, I
and
would
not
say-
even a house in the neighborhoods that we,
No,
I mean,
no.
in the Nashville area, you can't even buy a $150,000 house. That's in the woods, like, so where there's not going to be any jobs. So you have to think about that. Like, where are you going to live? Where are you?
I think for
gonna
anyone
work?
about to go to college, they need to Google like highest paying jobs for 4-year degrees, and it's like find that out. You know, because that changes from year to year, and you need to go into that knowing what you're planning to do based on what am I good at, what am I bad at. Like for me, I was always bad at math and science, so I got an English degree, so I wouldn't have to take math and science classes. And it's worked out for me. Having an English degree, I built on all that, and it worked. So it's a matter of start there, and yeah, it's one of those things where like you do have to care about money. I think that's what happens with millennials. Is like we were told it's all about love. Just as long as you love yourself and you love other people, and all you need is love, and it's not all about money. But then you get out here and like, wow, we really have to start like planning our future, not just paying our bills, but our future.
Right.
So, I think the main thing is, to answer your question, whatever you can do to stay out of debt, whatever you can do to keep from going into debt, stay out of debt, and then of course, you know me, whatever you can do to find ways to make money on the side, especially online. I mean, I make money 5 different ways online, and that's passive income. And it's kind of like the 401k, where it's money that you're making while you're not thinking about it. And that's what passive income is. I can make money from these ads on YouTube and all the other stuff that I do. Find ways to do that, because if that's an extra job that you don't have to spend as much time on. But that would be my advice. But debt is definitely the enemy. That's the bottom line.
I would say if you're in debt, and at some point, you know, in many people's lives and most people's lives, you do get into debt. But the thing is to set a goal to get out of debt and work very quickly.
Dave Ramsey, check him out.
Oh yeah.
Rich Dad Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki got a book about it. But we got out of debt 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And since then, we've been able to reverse everything. And you know, while it's not even vain. It's not even bragging. Like, okay, well now we're investing on 401k. We're doing great. We got money in the bank. We bought my Jeep with cash.
But we're still behind, and we're still like, and we still struggle to stick with the budget. I mean, I think that's key too. Is like, I find myself thinking, oh well, we have the money, so I can get this, I can get that, but it's like, no, we really need to stick. And now we use the EveryDollar app, and you know, try to set our limits, and then as we're going through the month, enter our receipts so that we can make sure, yeah, we are staying in the limits here, or maybe we need to be. And the thing that gets us is our grocery bill, because we eat a lot, try to buy organic stuff, but now I'm trying to adjust that so it's not, you know, I'm looking for stuff that's on sale and looking for ways to decrease our grocery budget, because that's where I'll blow a lot of money that's unnecessary, or, you know, oh, this is on sale, or this is on sale, I'll grab this and that. But I found a good way to do that is Kroger Click List. Well, you don't have to go in the store.
Yeah, that is true. So it looks, there's our 15 minutes is up.
Okay.
But hey, I think that is valuable information. I'm very glad that person asked. It's an honor that someone would ask my wisdom, but I was like, but I have to give my wife the credit. I mean, she's the reason why we're doing so well and we're so focused on this. Comments belong right here.